Get the chicken. Where's the chicken? You know, so much happened for me in the late 2000s. I started touring with Steve Vai, and then I started touring with Dethklok, and then the Aristocrats happened in 2011, and then I started with Joe Satriani in 2013. So everything just kind of felt like it suddenly accelerated. But it was just a few years before that I had a lot more time on my hands. I had just quit my corporate job. It was like a big midlife crisis thing. And I was starting over. So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I immediately sat down to write this album that I had in my head called Thanks in Advance. You know, I felt really good about Thanks in Advance when I finished it in 2008, but you know, some songs stood the test of time better than others. And of course, I was a young, inexperienced producer then, and you know, I didn't make the same choices in terms of mixing that I would have made now. And I thought, I always wanted to take another crack at it, so I thought, you know, why not pick a couple of songs and see what comes up. The interesting and weird thing about all three of these songs that are on this EP is that they all have aristocratic lineage in some way. Greasy Wheel and Cave Dweller were two of the songs that were actually in the very first Aristocrats show that we ever played. It was a 6-song set that we did at a NAMM show, the Anaheim Bass Bash, in early 2011, and we each contributed 2 of our own songs. And then those songs stayed in the Aristocrats live set when we actually started playing our first shows, because we only had one album in the beginning. We didn't have enough material for a full 2-hour show. So yeah, Greasy Wheel and Cave Dweller, those 2 songs, probably most people know about them from the Aristocrats live album, Boing, We'll Do It Live, and probably don't even know that these songs exist on a solo album of mine. People are probably hearing some of these things for the first time, which I think is kind of a cool way to introduce them, kind of taking a step back and looking at where they came from. The third song is this insane kind of progressive fusion 10-minute long beast called Love, Terror, Adrenaline, Breakthrough. And the unique thing about it is that it's the only song in my solo catalog that I asked Marco Minnemann to play drums on. And that was 2007, so that was a good 4 years before the Aristocrats were formed. And it's this really, really difficult song, and Marco eats that stuff alive. I knew that he did because we worked together with Mike Keneally. That's how I met Marco in 2005, and Mike's material is really difficult, and Marco just like killed all over it. So I thought he's the right guy for this. And this song has this really, really difficult melody in it that really was a perfect thing for somebody like Mike Keneally to do. So it's Mike Keneally on guitar playing all this really difficult stuff, Marco on drums playing all this really difficult stuff. And the funny thing about that is that there was a kind of prototypical, me, Marco plus guitarist trio band with Mike Keneally in it called KMB, Keneally, Minnemann, Beller. And that band only did a few gigs, and the material was really super weird. It was really, really out there, but it was fun. So yeah, I felt like these 3 songs, Greasy Wheel, Cave Dweller, and Love, Terror, Adrenaline, were the right 3 songs to go back and make a remix EP out of. Both because they're interesting in an Aristocrats artifactual kind of way, and also because they're really representative of what I was really trying to do with the Thanks in Advance album in the first place. And those 3 songs take up almost half the running order right there. It's like 27, 28 minutes. So I felt like that was the way to go with these.